Hello and welcome to my channel, In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne and this is my weekly reading vlog. And today it is Saturday and we are getting this vlog started because I have a little haul to show you. Yes, your girl went to another library book sale. Another Saturday, another library book sale, another haul. In my defense, I made room on my shelves recently, so plus I've unhauled a book or two, so it's okay. And this first one is actually a replacement. So I have a copy of Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, which I'm definitely going to be reading for Victober this year. I kind of wanted to last year, but then the group read was another book by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, and I decided I'd rather read along with everybody. So I read her other book, and it was fun. So I want to read this one, which is her more well-known book. And I have bought a copy since then, but it's like a print-on-demand sort of copy. This is an Oxford University Press edition, and it's in very good condition. $1. So got that. And that will replace the book that's already on my shelf. It doesn't take up extra space. It's not an extra book. All good. And then Kate Morton is an author that I want to read her whole backlist. I've read a few. I actually haven't read her most recent ones. It's been a few years since I've read anything by her, but I've read a few by her and I want to read more of her books. And this is The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. This one she wrote in when? 2012. So 13 years old. Then I've heard a lot of people talking about this middle grade book, Wish Tree, and I've heard mostly good things about it, and definitely mostly good things about Catherine Applegate, although I've never read anything by her. So I thought this was a beautiful copy, and I may pass it on, but I'm going to hang on to it a little bit first and possibly get around to reading that one. I don't read a lot of middle grade as a general rule, but that was such a beautiful copy, and I've heard good things, so. And then I got this, The Preacher's Bride by Jody Headland, which is pretty sure it's a biographical novel about a genuine actual person. Yeah, in the 17th century. Okay, so it's inspired by the story of John Bunyan. And I think that she changed the name and because she was fictionalizing it to the extent that it's not fully biographical, but there's also not a lot we know. So, she just kind of took the story of John Bunyan and his wife as a springboard and wrote this from that. So I'm very curious about that. And then they had a whole set of these On the Banks of Plum Creek books at the library book sale, hardcover editions in great condition. This one was cheaper than the others, so I picked this one up. And then I realized that the reason it was cheaper is it has a little marking on the pages, and then there's a little note, an inscription on the end pages, but it's still otherwise in great condition. So, and then this it was a little extra. It was $3 because it's more of a specialty book, but it is in fantastic condition and it will go great with my Prairie Trail readathon in August, and it's a great companion to a book I already have. And that is The World of Laura Ingalls Wilder by Morton McDowell, the frontier landscapes that inspired the Little House books. And I saw this book in the bookstores at the gift shops when I was out west last year, or in the Midwest last year, and I wanted it, but we can't always buy everything that we want. And I got it for $3, and it's in perfect condition, like nobody ever read it. So that was a great deal. And then finally, I'm very excited about this. This was actually at a thrift store that we went to before we went to the library sale. And that is The Ideals Guide to Literary Places in the U.S. I think this is so cool. Now, this book is a little bit old, so it's probably not, the most updated information, but it is a good place to start. Looks like it was printed in 1998. But I think it's a good place to start. And I am not interested in all of the places here because these are not all authors that I have read or care about. But it does hit the main highlights, and I am looking forward to crossing a bunch of these off my list. I've already gone to some of them, but I am looking forward to finding more. We're going to Missouri at the end of July to visit my family, my parents. And there is a place, Eugene Field's birthplace or home where he grew up or whatever in St. Louis, Missouri, but I don't know if we're going to actually go there this time around. So I don't know if we would be able to get to that. And then my husband and I are going to New York briefly in August, and I see that Edgar Allan Poe has a home in the Bronx, but I don't know if we'll have time to get out to the Bronx while we're there. So we'll see, maybe, because I don't know. I'm gonna have to look and see how long it takes to get there with public transportation, because we're only there for a couple days and we already have quite a few things on our schedule. So I may not have time to hit that one, but I've been to the Edgar Allan Poe house in Baltimore. I want to go to the one in Richmond, and I saw there's also one in Pennsylvania. So I just think it would be fun just to hit all the Edgar Allan Poe places, just because he was such a mysterious person. That's why, mainly, he intrigues me. So that was my haul today. That was fun, and I will see you next time. Well, it is Tuesday afternoon, and I find myself home alone in peace and quiet. My younger son is at an amusement park with my husband and a friend of his, and my older son is at work at a part-time summer job that he has. So I am home by myself, and I am enjoying this wonderful summer day with some gardening and some cleaning and organizing. And I just finished the last step so far of what I can do of making this downstairs area a kind of cozy, livable space that I've been working towards for many years, but haven't quite gotten to the place where I'm satisfied with it and am capable of maintaining it. So that's my goal. I want to be able to use this downstairs space more. And this little corner where I am right now, I want it to be like my office area. And in my summer goals video, I had expressed in particular a couple of things that I wanted to improve in this area. One, I needed my husband's help, and yay, he did it. You can see behind me the little trapdoor thing that is providing like a little access hatch to the plumbing from our upstairs bathroom. It was a gaping hole in the ceiling because we had some plumbing issues, but the plumbing issues have been fixed. But rather than closing it off with drywall again, my husband opted to use a little hatch access thing so that we can access the plumbing. There are some more things we need to do. You can't see behind me. There's a sink that was in this house from the time it was built. I think it was originally supposed to be part of like a wet bar, but when the people before us renovated the basement, they got rid of that wet bar. Understandably, I'm sure it would have taken up a lot of space in this room. It's a lot more open now, but they kept the sink for some reason. And the sink is I don't think it's been used in decades, and it's gross and it needs to go. So that's one of our goals, is to get rid of that and then cap off the plumbing and kind of finish up that little nook there. But right now we're just hiding it with that file cabinet. And so this is my little work area. I have this desk, which I don't know if you remember, so I'm going to move you here. Last year, when I was working for my sister, she does auctions and like estate sales online, and she had this old desk at the auction, and nobody came to claim it, and so I was helping her with a pickup at the auction, and she said I could have it. So it's honestly a little rickety and like it has some issues. I may replace it, but for now it's free and it's here, and so it's my little desk space. And then behind me is a piece of furniture that came from the house where I lived with my sisters when I was single. So it's kind of an old piece of furniture, but in there is like my printer and my inventory for my Etsy shop and everything. So I am happy to have this little corner of workspace in the basement, and I'm trying to make this overall like a cozy space. So I'm here and I'm going to be doing a little bit of work today on my computer and try out my little office space for the first time. And also just wanted to give you a little update on my reading. I have less than 300 pages left in Mansfield Park, and I'm getting now to the climactic part of the story where I just want to sit and read it, but I also need to get other stuff done. So I'm opting to be an adult and get the other stuff done, but I do want to finish reading that one. And then I'm reading Shiloh, and I'm a little over halfway through that one. It's a little bit more slow going. I don't want to say it's slow pacing because there are developments in every chapter, but I don't know. I don't know. The part of the story where I'm at, it's not moving very quickly, and the pacing is a little slow, and it just feels like I'm not getting very far when I'm sitting down to read it. It's more than 400 pages, like 445 or something like that. So it's taking a while. I remember having the same issue with Mountain Laurel, the first book in this series. It was good, but the pacing is a little bit slow. You do kind of like work through the developments at a slow pace, kind of. So I don't know. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. So it's not something that I think will stick with me forever and that I will love, but it is interesting. I do want to keep reading it. I want to find out what happens. It's just taking a while to get there. That's all. And also, I think I'm a little antsy because we're coming to the end of the month and I have a couple of other books that I want to read, but I want to get it done by the end of June because I want to have July free for all of the fun things that I plan for July. So that's my dilemma here. So I'm trying to finish it up in the time that I have, but I have things to do today. I have a busy day tomorrow. Thursday will be less busy, so we'll see. I want to finish Shiloh within the next couple of days. That's my goal. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, I'm going to sit in my cozy little space and do a little bit of work, and I will let you know in a day or two how I'm doing on those reading goals. It is a lovely Wednesday morning. It's going to get hot today, but at the moment, it's not terrible. In about an hour and a half, I'm going to head out and I'm going to be gone for probably the rest of the day. We'll see. At one point, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. I need to drop my son off where he has an orientation for a new job that he's starting. But I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to take. I know at least an hour or two. So I don't know what I'm going to do during that time, if I'm going to come home and then go back out. But it's one of those things where I want to be ready to pick him up when he's done, so he doesn't have to hang out there. But he probably won't know until he's done that he's done. Also don't know, I need to look and see what there is around there to do. if I can, I don't know, sit and read in a coffee shop or do some work on my computer. We'll see. Anyway, so it's going to be a busy day. Depending on what happens in those couple hours while he's at his orientation, I may or may not get more reading done. I've been thoroughly enjoying these sunny mornings on my deck. It's my favorite part about summer, and I just love it when the day is warm, but it's not crazy hot yet, and the sun is shining, and I can hear all of the birds and see all of the various wildlife that we have around our house. We have rabbits, we have squirrels, we have groundhogs, we have ducks, we have fox, although I don't see them this time of the day typically, and we have a variety of birds. Yesterday I saw a hawk on my deck, which is not the first time I've seen one around here, but if they keep the mouse population to a minimum, they're welcome around here. I just don't want them to get the bunnies, you know? The bunnies are cute. Although bunnies do multiply quite rapidly, so. Anyways. So, I am more than 2/3 of the way through Shiloh, and I am enjoying it. And I am a little bit thinking, though, that there is another series. Like, this book brings in characters from another series. And I think I may have read something about that in a review, but I'd forgotten it. And I really do feel like if I had read that prior series, I would have a better context for the characters and some of the things that are happening in this story. So that is something to be aware of if you embark on a plan of reading Lori Benton. It's probably better to read her books in publication order because it seems like she pulls characters from different series. So it is a little bit impeding my enjoyment of the story, and I am finding it a little bit more of a slog than I did the first book in this series, although it's not a slog, really. It's just a little bit more like wading through these characters and explanations of things that happened before in previous books, and, you know, like the summaries of those events so that I can understand where we are in the story. And it's just a lot. So a lot of like info dumping kind of stuff. And it is also moving very slowly. I feel like, so one of the main dilemmas in this book that is creating the story is that Shona, our female main character, she was enslaved and now she's a free woman. And a lot is said about her grappling with that and struggling with that, like struggling with how to be a free woman, what does it look like, whatever. Like, it's said a lot by characters in the story and by the narration that she's struggling with it, but we're not shown that. All we're shown is her hesitating. And we have a little bit of her mental process, but not enough to fully understand. Like, I don't feel like I'm fully inside Shona's mind, understanding her hesitations, understanding how her former slavery is connected to it. Like, those, I can believe that all of that would be true in a person in her situation, but I'm not seeing it in this story. Like, it's not, this section, this aspect of the story is just not, I don't think, as well written as the story is in general. In general, I would say it's a pretty well written book. I've been enjoying Lori Benton's writing. She has a lot of strengths to her writing, and I'm enjoying it overall. But this is a flaw in the book, I feel like. And it's funny. I'm watching, my neighbors have a bird feeder, and there is looks like some kind of blackbird. I don't know. It doesn't, not quite large enough to be a crow, but it's larger than the bird feeder is intended to be for. Like, it's meant for smaller birds. And so the bird was like, the bird feeder is hanging, and the bird was like going around and around in circles trying to eat out of the bird feeder. Silly bird. Anyway, so I'm enjoying it overall, but there are some drawbacks to this one, more so than the first one in the series, in my opinion. It's mostly opinion stuff. So I am only about a third of the way left, a third to 25% of the way. So we'll see how everything wraps up in this story, how I feel about that one. And I'm hoping to wrap it up today if I can, because I would like to pick up Salt to the Sea. And I also really want to read The Magnificent Lives of Marjorie Post, because next month I want to go to her house in DC with one of my sisters, see if we can plan that day. So that is what I have going on, ladies and gentlemen. And I will check in with you at least one more time as the week goes on. I hope you're all having a marvelous week, and I will see you next time. Bye. It is Saturday morning, and I have not had as much time the past couple of days to read as I would have liked. So I did not meet my goals as quickly as I would have liked this week. Some things came up, and I just ended up with not as much time to read. That's how life worked out for me this week, which is fine. So I did, however, finish reading Shiloh by Lori Benton, and I enjoyed the first book more. I think I would have enjoyed this book more if I had read the other book that it is a sequel to, because it's a sequel to two different books. It kind of draws on the characters from both of them. And so I didn't know the characters in the other book, and there was a lot. It was a lot bringing in all of the characters from those two stories, and that was a little bit overwhelming. And she acknowledged in the author's note at the end of the book that was something that they worked really hard at in the editing and in the writing of the story. They were, endeavoring to make it not too complicated. But for me, I think if I had read the other book first, it would have been more enjoyable. So that, I didn't realize that going into it. So I forget the name of the other book that it's a sequel to. It sounds like a really good story that I would enjoy. I just hadn't read it yet. So the other thing is, I feel like what made it feel like it moved so slowly was that there was just way too much detail of mundane, ordinary things. I feel like talking about, who was watching the children, and, she was holding the baby, and then she handed it off to so-and-so, and this person was cooking, and like the daily little things that did not really affect the story at all just added to the feeling of it moving very slowly. And I would have liked to, I just don't think that was necessary, and it made it feel more of a slog. The other thing was, our main character, Shona, she has some understandable emotional struggles through the course of this story. But I just feel like I couldn't quite grasp where she was emotionally. I could not immerse myself in her situation and feel what she was feeling. I guess in the end it probably was a result of being told rather than shown, because when the emotions and feelings of a character are shown in the writing by the things that they do, the look in their face, their body language, or their thought process, then you can more easily enter into those emotions with them. I felt like I was hearing about her emotions, so it was not engaging in them with her myself as a reader. So I don't know if that was the headspace I was in or just the way that it was written. It's probably a combination of two, but definitely part of the latter at least. So it was not as good as the first book in the series, Mountain Laurel, which I enjoyed more. I'm not dissatisfied with the way that the story ended or resolved. There was a lot of very well done faith elements. I loved that there was an elderly gentleman who was a former slave who learns how to read by reading the Bible, and he becomes sort of like a mentor, spiritual guide character in the lives of the younger people in the story that it's centering around. And I really like that. I feel like that is a very useful, that doesn't quite sound like what I want to say. It is an excellent way for an author to convey truth without being preachy, by having this sort of mentor guide character who is able to naturally, in the flow of the story, in the course of conversation, be a source of wisdom and inspiration. I feel like it's a time-honored literary tool. So I can appreciate that in this story as well. So it wasn't a terrible read. It wasn't awful. It was, I would still recommend it, but I do recommend reading both prequels to it. Well, they're not really prequels, but both books that are prerequisite to reading this one. I recommend reading both of them, so you have a full grasp of the story, and it's more, you're able to understand what the characters are going through better. So in the end, I think I will settle on a 3-star. Good, but not great. So that I finished, and today I have a bit of a slower day. My husband and I are going to go out on a little bit of a date night. Well, as usually happens, we have an errand or something to do, and then we turn it into a date. So that's what we're going to do. My sister, I've mentioned before, owns an online auction company, and I bid on and won some items, so I have to go pick it up today, and it's about an hour away from where I live, where the pickup is. And 20 minutes north of where we're going is a town in Virginia that I've always wanted to go to, Occoquan. It's situated along, I think it's the Potomac River there. I'm not 100% certain, but it's situated along the river. I think the Potomac River, and it is like one of those quaint, cute little towns that I love, and it has little gift shops and antique shops and cafes and that sort of thing. So we're going to go there after I go to the pickup, and possibly a thrift store on the way as well. So we'll see what all we are able to do in the time that we have. However, in that hour drive, I should have some time to read. This morning I don't have a lot going on. I need to do some editing of videos and that sort of stuff, so I may get some reading done this morning. But the only outstanding thing from June that I have to read is finishing up Mansfield Park, when I have a little over 100 pages left in that. I don't know if I'm going to try to finish that today, or if I'm going to pick up Salt to the Sea and try to finish that one today or tomorrow, because then I want to start The Magnificent Lives of Marjorie Post. I don't know that I'm going to finish it by the end of June, but I do have 3 days. Tomorrow is Sunday, won't be a lot of time for reading, but today I have some time, and Monday, everybody else in my family is going to Hershey Park, an amusement park in Pennsylvania, but I am not, because that's not my thing. So, I mean, sometimes I go, but this time I'm happy to stay home and let them have all of that fun, because it's not as fun for me. Okay, bugs biting me. Go away. Ugh. Hazards of sitting outside. Anyway, so I am going to be home alone on Monday. So other than doing, basic housekeeping and other tasks that I will have a lot of time to myself on Monday. So all that to say, between today and Monday, I am hoping to finish Mansfield Park. That should be easy. And finish Salt to the Sea. Also should be easy, because I think that's a quick read. But I am also hoping to read The Magnificent Lives of Marjorie Post. But I'm thinking I probably will merely make significant progress in that one. But that's fine. And then that will help me to start July on Tuesday with a more or less fresh, clean slate, and get started on my fun July reading, which I'm really looking forward to. So, those are my plans. I still have 3 days left in June, so everything's still good. And overall, I've already read 7 books. I know I'm going to finish Mansfield Park by the end of Monday, so that'll be 8 books, which is actually really good for this year. It's an average number for me normally, but it's really good for this year. So I'm going to take it as a win and feel like things are looking up this summer. So that is the end of my weekly reading vlog this week. I guess you will have to tune in next week to find out if I accomplished my goals and finished what I wanted to. I do hope to have my reading wrap up for June. I think that will be my midweek video. So we'll be wrapping up the month of June. Maybe I'll combine it with a tag, because I need to get some tags out there too. So that's what we'll do. Okay, that will be on Wednesday. And so you might find out on Wednesday if I manage to finish all of these things. Okay, so that is all I have for today. And I hope that you all are having a wonderful week. Please let me know in the comments what you have read this week. And let me know your thoughts about what I read this week and my thoughts about what I read this week. And let's keep the conversation going. And I will see you next time. Bye.